Now, I'm stoked to welcome to the show Brisbane Alt Rockers Big Dinner, Rory, Tom, and Charles. It's a pleasure to have you guys. How are you all going?
Good,
Grand, pretty good, yeah.
It's good to hear. And coming up on this Thursday, on the 18th, you guys are dropping your new tune, Yesterday's Tomorrow. What can you tell us about that tune?
Well, we've been working on this track for quite a while. I'd say over 6 months it's been in the works. It was a song that we played in our set for probably 9, maybe 10 months, quite a while. And even the recording process took quite a while. It was meant to come out the 26th of March. That's when we had our single launch at the Foundry. But that got postponed or cancelled kind of because of coronavirus, obviously. So we decided to take it back into the recording process and make it better and better until we found the time to release it.
Okay. And so how much has the track actually changed since the first planned release date? Is it just more tightening it up or?
Yeah, tidying it up and adding. We added some more acoustic guitar parts, a couple vocal layers. But by the time that we were ready for the single launch, it was basically at the stage it is now, maybe just a little bit less.
Yeah, so it's just fine tuning, polishing the mix and stuff.
Okay. And what themes do you actually explore in the lyrics? Is it about anything in particular?
Initially, when we wrote the song, it was just a chord progression with some melody that we kind of jammed around to. But then when it came to the recording process and we had to find something to write about, I guess it's about a breakup, I suppose. Straight up, it's about being in a bad relationship and it coming to an end and it being quite disastrous and emotionally tough, but being content and happy in the mix of it all.
Okay.
Yeah.
Being happy with your.
Yeah.
And so was it a tough track to write lyrically?
No, not really. It was enjoyable. It was it wasn't tough. It was
therapeutic.
Yeah, therapeutic. It was nice to be able to sit back and realize that I'm happy, even though it was a tough time.
For sure. And so what actually came first when you started working on this track? Was it a specific piece of instrumentation rather than a line?
I think it all came from jamming initially. So there weren't really lyrics, but just a chord progression, a rough idea. And then, we basically just jamming with the voice memo going until we got something we liked and then went from there.
Yeah. And we had the melody, the final melody that you hear in the last chorus, we had that for quite a while, but we just were unsure of what lyrics to fill the melody with.
Yeah.
And working from a jam, is that typically how you guys work, start your songs, or was it a different process to previous recordings?
Yeah, that's pretty much how all our songs come about. Some songs are more natural than others, some songs more improvised than others, but generally we'll start with the progression. We'll come to practice with a little progression that we've made up, Tom or I or whoever, and then we'll just jam it out and see what happens. Some stick, some don't.
Yeah. Okay. And you mentioned a bit earlier that you've had it for about 6 to 9 months. Is that a similar kind of time for you guys to be working on tracks, or do you think it took a bit longer than previous recordings?
This one definitely took a lot longer. I guess we realized that we had heaps of time to keep working on it because of COVID, and we just kind of used that to our advantage and explored more stuff on the marketing side as well, just to try and maximize its success, which then push it back further.
Yeah. But the time range of this process of starting and finishing a song varies a lot. We just dropped a song called I Can Tell You about a week ago, and that process was very quick. I think me and Fraser wrote the song in about a week and then had already recorded, didn't really do a demo, we just went straight into recording, and then it was out in 2 months of mixing.
Okay. And so what was the idea behind releasing that track so soon before this new one?
I don't know, it was a bit random. We didn't really know what the idea was. It had been so long since we released, and we kept pushing back the release of Yesterday's Tomorrow. I think everyone was a bit confused as to what we were doing, and it was a nice song. We really liked it. We just wanted to put it out and be a bit random.
Yeah, completely fair. And how was the actual recording process for this track? Was it Was it recorded in a similar space as to previous releases?
Well, yeah, we've recorded all of the tracks that we've released just in a bedroom or a couple different bedrooms.
Okay.
This is the first one that we recorded the guitars through an amp though, instead of just going like straight in, like direct input into a computer, which I think is good for the sound. It's a lot warmer and it's like more real.
With this track as well, it does feel a lot more natural and a bit more like homely because the vocal track was first take. We didn't revisit the vocals. We just laid down the vocals originally to track bass with to keep in time.
Okay.
And we ended up liking the feel of it. Like it's imperfect. It's not, every note isn't perfect, but we just like the first take feel of it.
Yeah.
Fair. And so, how did you think you guys succeeded in having it sound so organic? Was it just kind of that you let it come out naturally and that you didn't force anything?
Yeah, I think with regards to the vocal take, like in my mind, I wasn't pressured to do a perfect take. I didn't think that this was the one. I didn't feel like pressured for time or anything. I just knew that we had to lay down a track to match with the bass in the recording process, so it just came out very naturally.
Who are the band's most prominent influences, and what impact do you think they have on the band's sound?
I would have to say, personally, I've been listening to a lot of Tame Impala lately. I've really liked their latest release. Standout song off that was Lost in Yesterday. Really like that one. A lot of us have different influences. I think a lot of like Australian and American and even British, just indie rock.
Yeah, I think we all five of us listen to very different genres of music. Like straight up, we have Tom and Simon who study jazz and who are influenced by jazz music heavily in their playing.
Okay.
And then Charles has in the past played in heavy metal bands or death metal, whatever you want to call it. That's a big influence in his playing. And then me and Fraser are more into like the alternative folk side of songwriting. So we kind of just meet in the middle.
Bring different stuff to the table.
Yeah.
Okay. And do you guys find that comes together quite easily, all the different influences, or is it a bit of a struggle sometimes?
Initially, it doesn't meld together the best, but you work on it and it ends up sounding good. Like we all come to the table with sort of very different ideas, and we sort of just hit away at it for a while, and then eventually it just turns into something that we all feel as though that we've put enough of our own influences into, and also sounding enough like how we all want to sound collectively.
Homogeneous.
Yeah.
It was very tricky at the beginning, like the early days of rehearsing, like we had no idea what our sound was and where to meet. But I think through releasing and through like playing gigs and getting somewhat recognized, we realized that we have built a sound.
Yeah,
and it's easier to envision now.
for sure. And now a bit of a throwback question. I was one of the lucky people at a certain house party to see the band live when they were called the Sheds, which got me wondering if there was much of a story behind the band name change to Big Dinner.
No, there's no meaning behind the name Big Dinner. A lot of people wonder what that could mean, but it doesn't mean anything. It's just an alias for the group. I think, well, initially, like it was my name that I made songs under on SoundCloud since the start of 2017 or maybe late 2016. And then we were playing in other groups like the Sheds, and I think, what was the other? We had another name. Like,
something about 417.
yeah, some stupid name. But all of that kind of changed when we got asked to support Twin Folds, this other Brisbane band who no longer play. And we realised that we need to step up a bit.
Yeah.
Fair enough. And are there any specific releases that you guys have revisited the most so far this year?
A big one for me that I kind of like lost my mind when I heard, couldn't really understand how it was so beautiful, was Slow Burn by Perv Endings. That came out a couple of weeks ago. That was unbelievable.
And have you been quite a big fan of their music previously? Because I mean, I know it was a big shock to me the first time I heard it. Vastly different.
Yeah, I wasn't really totally into them. Like I had a lot of respect for them. We were meant to play a gig with them back in October or something, but it got cancelled because I don't know what happened. Just the gig got put down. Yeah, well, I was excited to meet them, but I'm even more excited to meet them now.
For sure.
I've been reading all the Doors albums. Going through heaps of stuff, especially the Sock Parade, that album.
Is that an album that you'd Because I mean, I've listened to bits and pieces, but I haven't really dived deep into their catalog. Would you recommend that as a decent starting point? That album?
No, totally, no way. It's like, it's probably the only album where Jim Morrison has like very little influence on it, because I think he was pretty mentally unstable and like not writing much at that point. So it was the keys player and the guitarist that wrote heaps of it. So it's got like a lot of different sounds than a typical Doors album, I guess.
Yeah. Okay. Any other releases?
I've been listening to a lot of like Midwest hardcore punk and like beatdown and stuff. It's pretty good, like Knock Loose, Orthodox.
Mike Skinner.
Yeah, Mike Skinner in the Streets. That's a bit.
Oh,
bit
yeah, okay.
I've really been enjoying that.
Also, another one, like, I'd like to speak on behalf of Fraser. He's not here, but me and him be really getting to Rolling Blackouts, Coastal Fever, their new album, and they dropped a couple of singles earlier this year. I think it's a big influence in his songwriting and now mine, kind of.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. And have you guys heard any Queensland releases recently that have really stood out?
I think my favorite recent release is Mystery Girl by Karupa Reach.
Oh, well, nice.
That song gives me like goosebumps.
Shout out.
Yeah.
Also, our friend Paddy and his little project Float Therapy got out a new song, Gaffer Tape, which was really sick. That was very fun.
I've had a lot of people name that song.
Yeah.
Banger and a half.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's been a bunch of good stuff. I think Concrete Surfer's new tune was nice as well.
Agreed.
Yeah.
And if you guys could master any instrument, what do you think you'd pick?
I'd choose the piano. I think that'd be nice to be able to play a classical piano anywhere. Yeah. Tom?
I'd choose guitar. Well, maybe piano actually, but probably guitar.
And I would probably choose drums because I'm just not nowhere near as good as I'd like to be.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite drummer?
I'd have to say, well, my number one influence for drumming, which is the reason I started drumming, would be Travis Barker from Blink-182. Yeah, he's such an amazing drummer. Like just the intensity that he plays with, always been intrigued by that.
Yeah. And now if you guys could make the soundtrack or score to any film, television show, or video game, what would you pick and why?
Oh, that's hard. Personally, I really love Wes Anderson and his like stop motion movies. I think it'd be cool to make it. Yeah, I don't know, it's just some little fun like instrumental backing track to a movie like that. I don't know. What do you guys reckon?
I'd like to make a soundtrack to Minecraft, I reckon.
Yeah.
Just be really like relaxing sort of soundscapes, not really following tempo or
Like binaural beats.
Yeah, just really soothing.
Or like on hold music, like when you're on hold to tell you something.
Music.
I don't know
Nice.
what one movie, but I reckon I have this knack, this like ability to hear any song, and I can picture like a movie scene that it would fit perfectly.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it's a flip.
And now if you guys had to name one artist or a specific record that you think has had the biggest influence on you personally or musically, who would you name?
Rory first.
Okay. For me, it would probably be 6 Feet Beneath the Moon by King Cruel.
So dope.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, King Cruel's first EP or release. I think that was life-changing in all aspects. That kind of like made me want to start playing guitar properly and release music, even though the music we release is quite different. It was just very inspiring. I think I just stole Tom's, but
Yeah, that was gonna be mine. I guess maybe the live album that Tame Impala have. I think it's from like 2014. When I heard that was like a real like psych rock kind of third eye opener, if you will. Yeah.
Nice. What about you, Charles?
I would have to say the album Peripheral Vision by Turnover.
yeah.
And I would say that has personally influenced me the most because when I first listened to it, I was about maybe 14 and I didn't like it. I didn't get the lyrics. I didn't understand it at all. And I just didn't enjoy it. And then a year later, I started listening to it again and it's been my favorite album ever since then. And just the reason I like it so much is because seeing how I didn't relate to the lyrics at one point in my life, and then a year later it completely changed. And then it's just been such a good album to listen to.
And so, what kind of music do they make? I don't think I'm familiar with them at all.
So
They made it like they
Turnover, they
turned over.
Yeah, they originally started out making like hardcore punk and like pop punk sort of stuff, and they've progressed into more of like an indie rock.
It's like
shoegazy with a bit of sin.
Yeah, very dreamy.
Yeah.
It's very nice.
Sweet. And what else can we expect from Big Dinner in the not too distant future?
Well, in about 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks, we're heading to a house outside of Byron Bay. Like a little
Mulaney.
No, it's not Mulaney. It's Sunshine Coast.
Oh, completely different place.
Goon and Gary, I think it's called. Like an hour out of Byron. And we'll be recording our EP there, 6-track EP, which is something that we've been saying for a very long time. I think almost every year we've been saying we're going to be releasing an EP, but we're actually doing it now.
Yeah.
And we intend on getting it out by the end of October with maybe a couple music videos to match, maybe some other little video content.
Some random songs dotted along the way.
Yeah.
Beautiful. And so, on the EP, are they all unreleased tracks, or are you going to include a couple of the singles?
No, they're all unreleased. Yeah.
But a lot of them are from our live set.
Yeah, we've been playing most of them for quite a while.
Yeah.
And we'll probably release like a pre-release single, maybe 2 before, leading up to. We're just undecided of which.
Yeah. Okay. And so, what's the oldest track that you've planned to have on this upcoming EP?
Tom's just gonna go have a look. We got a little poster in my room.
Okay.
I'd say there's this one called Edge of the Fence.
Yeah.
Edge of the Fence. Yeah. It's
Or this time next year, if you want to count like sound.
Yeah, no, actually, yeah, there's this one called This Time Next Year, which isn't part of our live set, but it was a track that's on Big Dinner SoundCloud, which is actually still public if people want to go listen to it. Probably don't want to, but we've been rewriting it and we're gonna re-release it. It's gonna be a bit different, but it's the same vibe. Yeah. And the other one is Edge of the Fence, which we've been playing in our set since our first ever gig.
Yeah.
And we've also
Which is a tune.
a bit of a different vibe. But
Charles's favorite.
Yeah.
I believe.
Yeah.
I haven't played it in like 12 months, and I've been really sad about it.
Damn. Very nice, boys. Can't wait to hear that. Lastly, if you only had a few words to describe yesterday's tomorrow, which few words would you use?
I think fake happy. Deep.
Yeah. I don't know. Is that like cognitive dissonance?
Big words. Whoa.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess it is. It's like, well, no, it's not. It's not. It's like, yeah. No, I don't know. Come back to me.
I don't know. What a musical. Yeah.
Relaxing, chill.
Yeah. It's tricky.
Yeah. I'd say it's like making the best of a bad situation and knowing
You said so many words, bro.
Yeah.
It's all right. Keep going.
make good from bad.
Yeah.
Bad. Beautiful, guys.
Make good from bad.
Exquisite. Rory, Tom, and Charles, thanks for joining me, boys.
Thank you very much.
Thanks
for
so
having
much,
us.